Edwina Morris, it's so good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Welcome back to East Tennessee State University.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
I am just so anxious to hear some of the stories that I heard you share just a little bit of here and there, and so now we have a great chance to hear them full on and for you to share some of your experience and really, I think, and share with students and other folks who are interested in our minor in leadership studies and the kinds of things that crossed your mind and how that's impacted you since you graduated. And so I'm just going to ask you a few questions about that and just let you share these wonderful things I have heard snippets of here and there. So, you ready to get started?
Absolutely.
Oh, good. All right. Well, after you graduated, just this past spring with a bachelor's degree in biology.
Yes.
And a minor, of course, in leadership studies.
Yes.
And so you have started working on your short-term plan, which is to get a job in healthcare and to get time to start doing that MCAT and those applications for med school and all that good stuff. So that's kind of the point you're at, and you're working at a hospital?
I'm working at UT Medical Center in Knoxville.
Okay, great. Excellent.
Yes, the University of Tennessee Medical Center, and it's been a great experience.
Wonderful. I've heard little bits of things that you've been involved in over breakfast this morning, and I'm sure there's some more wonderful stories, and can't wait to hear them. We're going to take you back from the hospital to your time as a student at East Tennessee State University, and I guess about the point where somebody said, "Oh, there's a minor in leadership." Wow, this is interesting. Should I do this? What kinds of things did you think about in terms of how it might possibly help you, and then what helped you make that decision to go, oh yeah, I'm going to do this?
Well, I'm just going to be very truthful, and I came in as a Roan Scholar, and it is a leadership scholarship program,
right? So
leadership based, and that's something that I was looking at when accepting acceptance into colleges and universities and for scholarship programs as well. And so my director of Roan Scholars said leadership studies minor is something that you all can think about, and she just kind of put it in our minds. And I was wondering, leadership studies minor, what is that? What could that possibly be, composed of? So I thought about it. I said, oh, okay, well, it sounds nice. Sure, I'll do it. And then I said, well, I'm going to be a biology major, and healthcare is what I want to go into. Pre-med concentration is what I'm going to do. So what is that leadership studies minor really? I think I need to be a science major and a science minor. So no, I'll just stick to a science minor. But then when you are kind of getting an idea of what medical schools are looking for, they are looking for leaders, because I believe it's pretty much unanimous that physicians are looked as leaders not only in healthcare but also in society and in the community. And so I thought back on it, and I said, you know what, I think I'll change my mind. I will be a leadership studies minor. So I had initially said it as that. Then I changed to, no, I'll do like a chemistry minor since I'm a biology major. And then I said, no, I'll do a public health minor instead of chemistry. Okay, no, wait, I like that leadership studies. Let me go back to that. Okay. So just being truthful, I did kind of hop around with the idea, and it just stroked my curiosity, and I said, okay, this is what I think I want to do. I want to find out, what is this really, about? What's more about it? And so I did, and I'm glad that I did, because I gained so much.
Oh, that's terrific. Well, let's talk about what this is that you gained, if you will, and let's kind of step this into maybe stages or steps of entrance to your profession. So let's talk in terms of graduating, and then okay, I want to find a job in healthcare, and so you're doing the application and the interview kind of scenario. So did the leadership minor help you in that application interview process at all?
Absolutely. It absolutely did. once I had got accepted on paper, they wanted to bring me in for the interview. So I went to Knoxville for my interview at UT Medical Center on the orthopedic trauma surgery unit, working in orthopedics and being a nurse assistant alongside orthopedic techs. And the nurse manager, who's the hiring manager for that unit, brought me in for the interview, and she's overlooking my resume. And, at the top of your resume, it's usually the first thing, it's your name and then education. And so it said biology major, pre-med, leadership studies minor. And so she's like, leadership studies minor? I've never heard of that. What's that about? And I'm like, funny you should ask, because I just had so much to talk about. And so I just said, well, it's about leadership, and I just started going into everything that we went over in several of the different courses and things that we learned, and Stephen Covey and John Maxwell. And by the end of that interview, she was taking notes. She was like, who is that, Stephen Covey? How do you spell that? C, okay, C-O-V-E, John Maxwell. And what's the name of that book? 7 Habits of... And she was taking notes and asking me questions. And it was just funny. It turned in from her interviewing me for the job to me telling her information about being a leader. And just so happened she was new to being the nurse manager on that unit. She had just been there for maybe a year and a half, not even quite 2 years. And it was her first time at a top position, managing others, and she kind of didn't really know where to begin, and she was pretty much overwhelmed. And she starts telling me about all the issues and all the problems on the unit and how she has these new kind of ideas, but the older veterans really were kind of opposing, and then issues and situations and how to attack that and how to motivate. And I said, oh, well, in class we learned this, and oh, well, textbook leadership would say that, but then you can look at this and this theory of leadership. And literally, she was just taking notes all through our interview. And it turned into me teaching her what I had learned through my leadership studies minor. And she had said, oh my goodness, I've never done this before, but you have the job. You absolutely have the job. You can bring so much to us, and we have a unit council, and you need to be a part of that. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you came in. And she calls up human resources, and she's like, Edwina, I'm standing here right now at the Edwina Morris for the interview, and she has the job. So when can she start orientation? And then she stops, she looks at me, and she says, oh, wait, I'm sure you have other offers. Oh, I guess I'll call you back. I'll let her think about it. I'm sure you want to think about it because you have other offers. And so I'm sitting there trying to keep a straight face because I was tickled, honestly. And I did have other offers, and I said, I'll think about it. But I already knew that was, the position that I wanted to take. And it was a very humorous event, but it was very eventful. And I'm teaching her everything that I had learned. And even now, when she sees me at work, she's like, come into my office later. I need to poke your head a little bit about some questions only. And we talk about that every time I see her leadership. And she's asking me, so how can I kind of turn this around? I have some ideas about this. What do you think about it? I want to run them by you. Come to my office later. And so that's just the relationship that we've had now, kind of mentor, teacher on both levels. Her being, my nurse manager, and me being the leadership expert, so to speak, helping her out with her new position as nurse manager. So it was very helpful getting my job position. And like I said, we do have unit councils for our healthcare floor. And the hospital's kind of going towards a new way of mission, visions, and values. And that's funny, too, because in our classes, we honed in on mission, visions, and values. And that was the first thing that I heard on my first day of orientation. The president of UTMC came in, and the vice president, and all the business people who are usually in the office who don't wear the scrubs, but they wear all the business suits. They come in and they're shaking our hands, and this is our mission, this is our vision and values. And I'm like, where have I heard that before? So it was just so business oriented, even though it was the healthcare field. And I realized, wow. I knew that I was taking a lot out of it once I got through it, but never would I have imagined that this is so relative to my field that I'm going into. And honestly, I believe that any field that anyone's going to go into, whether it be healthcare, whether it be business or something else, education, that leadership studies minor is going to benefit you one way or another. Absolutely, and it did for me.
That's exciting. What a great story. And I mean, and a real happening. That's tremendous. And you're now a leadership coach.
Exactly, I am.
Shingle and say consultant.
Exactly, absolutely.
Good for you. That's wonderful, Edwina. I'm so excited. When I heard some snippets of that, I said, oh my gosh, we just have to get this story down. That's tremendous. Well, so we certainly know that it has had great impact on getting the job. So what about the day-to-day in your job? How do you see it playing out? What kinds of things do you use?
Absolutely, I see the different dynamics of leadership. You know, there's always a hierarchy somewhere in some type of business aspect or wherever you're working. And, you know, there's the doctors and there's, the nurses, but there's the nurse manager, and then there's the team leader over, who's working that shift. And there's so many kind of levels, and yet it's a community, it's teamwork, but there's still this kind of dynamic of leadership and fellowship, and so I've learned a lot because everything isn't textbook necessarily, and everything isn't smooth and dandy, and just because you're in a leadership position doesn't mean that you have all those leadership skills.
Right.
You definitely find that out. And I remember one thing that we focused on was leadership styles, and how there's so many different dynamics and styles to leadership.
Right.
And there's not a wrong or a right style. And I have seen that, absolutely. Just different leaders who are effective,
right,
but just completely do different ways, different schemes, different ways of kind of being a leader.
Yes.
To the group, to the team, and I guess also the fellowship, how people respond to that leadership. There's good and there's bad responses to that. And so, everything that we did, I guess, textbook, I've seen it, and then I've seen it, opposite to that. So you see the dynamics, and you see how teams work under different leaderships, and I've definitely seen the good and the bad. Definitely seen it. And it's funny because I guess being the leadership coach that I've become,
right,
I want to go in, I want to fix all the problems. And I'll say, there's one thing that I've definitely taken in is when we have our meetings, and our meetings are, everyone has an open say, and whether you're a nurse or an orthopedic tech or a nurse assistant, you have a say in how we can change our unit, how we can improve customer care of our patients.
Right.
We talked about customers, and whether you're in healthcare, being patients, those are your customers, and how are we still on health education, but customer care, enforcing basically our missions and our visions and our values. How are we doing that every day in our work?
Right.
And these meetings, sometimes I just want to say, hold up, let me take charge, and I just want to give everybody advice. And that's one thing I think that I need to probably give more input, because I'm a controller analyzer that I learned, and so I kind of analyze the dynamics of people and environments, and then I take charge and I say, okay, this is what needs to happen.
Right.
I've been analyzing, I see the rights and the wrongs, and this is how to fix all the wrongs. But meetings is one thing that we definitely talked about in leadership, how to conduct a meeting. And I think that's one of the biggest problems I've seen sometimes, just meetings. I guess there's so many different types of people, and everyone wants to have an input, and everyone wants to have a say. And we get off on these tangents, and and the leader wants to be nice and make sure that everybody has a say, but often parking lots chasing rabbits.
Yes.
I heard that in our leadership, one of our speakers that came in. I see that so much, and I say that little phrase, and people are like, what? And out in parking lots chasing rabbits, because we're in this meeting, and what are the goals, what are the objectives of these meetings, and where are we at? We're definitely not talking about that.
Right.
Which is funny because we just had a meeting yesterday, and I was complaining when I left the meeting, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not what I learned in my leadership studies minor about how to conduct a meeting. And so I've taken so much, and I see how I can help. It's not just what I've gained on how life is, but how I can kind of change that, being the leader that I've learned, I guess, to become, which is, I guess, to answer the first question, going into leadership minor, I thought, well, I already see myself as a leader. Why do I need to take classes on becoming a leader when I already see myself as a pretty good leader? Oh, I was kind of wrong. I mean, I still saw myself as a leader,
Sure.
but I gained so much on how to enhance that.
Right.
And how there's no right or wrong way to leadership. And I guess right or wrong styles of leadership. There can be different styles, and your style can flex to, I guess, benefit your followers,
Right.
versus expecting your followers to flex to, benefit you and your specific
Yes.
leadership styles. And so I learned how to be a better leader and what a leader truly is and the theories of leadership. So it proved me wrong.
Well, it's one thing to have the confidence to feel that you're capable of leading, which is, I think, where you were coming from.
Right.
But then it's, well, how do I do this?
Right.
And how do I do this and be effective?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Right. And I guess I wasn't completely proven wrong. I was encouraged in many aspects, especially when we went over in the 7 habits of Stephen Covey's of highly effective people. There were some of the habits that I have been doing all my life. And I said, wow, I've, begin with the end in mind. Yes. All my life I knew that I wanted to go into healthcare, and I knew that I wanted to be a doctor. And then it hit me at one age, well, how do I actually become a doctor? I always said I want to be a doctor, and you go everywhere and they ask, well, what do you want to be? I want to be a doctor. But then at a certain age it hit me, well, what do I really have to do to become a doctor? I guess I have to go to college, right? Okay, I guess so. No, I was like, I guess I have to go to medical school.
Right.
And then it hit me, well, you don't just go to medical school from high school. You have to go to college. Well, how do I get into college? I will have good grades, but it can't just be, math and sciences. Okay, well, when I look into colleges, what major should I do? And so begin with the end in mind. For example, focusing on leadership and specifically Stephen Covey being a major leadership person that people look to.
Right.
It kind of encouraged me. I've been doing things all my life that I didn't know that was making me become or being a more effective leader than I even knew.
Right.
So just things like that. When I was learning about leadership, there were several things, not just that, but I actually already do that. Well, so it encouraged me.
It does. It's when you recognize it. Oh, I should do more of that.
Exactly.
If I had known, which I now do.
So yes, absolutely. It's that's one thing I guess that I learned about myself that I did that I should continue to do more. And staying on that topic of the 7 habits, one thing that I didn't know about that I said, I'm definitely doing more of that, because that has definitely helped me be more effective, was the quadrants.
Oh, okay.
So staying in quadrant 2, which, is the things that we happen to skip over, and going to the grocery store before your refrigerator is empty. You're learning that in college. Okay, quadrant 2, go to the grocery store because going to shopping when you're hungry is bad, because then you spend your money on these foods. Yeah, so anyways, that's quadrant 2.
Right.
Just, little things like getting new tires in your car and starting on that paper much sooner than waiting, till the last minute to do that paper. That's just things that you look at from a college perspective, but then once you graduate and you take it on into your career, about doing things in advance, not waiting till it becomes urgent and important. But when it's something that's important, but it's not urgent right now, doing it at your, not just at your earliest convenience, but doing it when it should be done versus waiting till you're, going from that 1 through 4 back to 1 through 4. I focus more on quadrant 2, and when people take the course, they'll know a little bit more of what I'm talking about. So hopefully that'll intrigue somebody. What is she talking about? Quadrants.
Class. About. So yeah, it's a way to think about managing your time.
Absolutely.
That abstract thing, how do I get a better handle on that? Well, it's to try to think about it in terms of what you're doing. Is it urgent? Is it important? Could it be both? And trying to classify it, and then, okay, do I spend my time dollars on this one today or that one today?
Absolutely.
Or put that off till tomorrow, kind of stuff. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So quadrants are a way to get a better handle on this sometimes chaotic and confusing, what should I spend my time on today?
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's very, very good. All right. Well, maybe we'll stay on that track a little bit, because I wanted to know, what else did you remember from classes that you now use, or things that have kind of changed how you. So obviously the quadrants have changed in terms.
Absolutely.
Of things that you do. Anything else from class that you remember?
I guess being the different styles that we talked about, and being an analyzer, a controller, or an organizer, it helped me look at other people and how they are. So now I can know how to be a better leader, or how to respect people who, not respect everyone, but how to more respect their leadership styles, or their, following styles, and how I can accommodate better to their following styles. Getting to know kind of who I am, and kind of the things that, you think you know who you are, but do you know who you are as a leader, or do you know who you are as a follower?
Right.
Because sometimes we do things that we don't realize, or we, count off certain types of people that we don't realize that we do, who are in a specific leadership position, or a certain attitude, or a certain kind of train of thought we have an initial reaction to, and we don't really even think about it too much. But in the class, when we kind of got to know more of who we are as people, and who we are as leaders, and who we are as followers, it helped me, I believe, be a better follower, and be a better leader. And how to flex. One thing we talked about a lot was flexing as a leader, and flexing to accommodate all of your followers' styles of following, and all your leader styles of leading. So that was one thing that I absolutely learned, was flexing in different styles and accommodating to the different people that you work with. And college was a great way to kind of test all those theories, because there's so many organizations and so many groups that you can get pulled into. And I was very active in college, and I just, everything that I learned in class, and I'd have like a organizational meeting, later on that day, I would apply it, and I would see, wow, this isn't just some mumbo jumbo that we're talking about in class. I actually see the dynamics that are going on right now.
Right. Some author just didn't fill up 2 pages in a textbook.
Exactly. And so that's definitely something that I gained and kind of used more. If I say I'm a people person, am I really a people person unless I really know people? And that helped me know people a little bit better, and myself a little bit better.
Oh, excellent. I like that line. Am I really a people person if I haven't taken the time to really get to know people? That's great. I'm going to steal that. Thank you very much. Okay. Coming back to that, how has this helped you? So now you're at the point of getting to your MCATs and filling out those applications. Do you see any connections with this and that process?
Absolutely. I think that it's helped me be able to maybe explain more of what leadership honestly means to me, because that's usually a question. What leadership roles have you done, and what makes you a leader, what made what your actions were in this role a leader, and people just kind of taking part in something, but again, not really analyzing the situation, may not be able to fully explain their leadership roles or how it impacted them. And so kind of, of course, essays is what you are doing when you're doing applications, because they want to know you. Who are you? And leadership, that question, it comes up. And it's helped me explain a little bit more who I am as a leader. And allow me to relate to them more of who I am as a leader. So it's been very handy. And I think we talked about that in class too, how that leadership question is coming up on more and more applications, whether it be colleges or universities or professional schools or jobs. They want to say, what leadership roles have you done and how has this impacted you? So it's helped me answer that question a little bit better.
Good. Great. One of the things you had said earlier in terms of getting to know yourself, I've had students talk about, particularly the capstone course, the leadership studies class itself, and they have sort of given it this nickname, the leadership MRI. And of course, being in a hospital, an MRI is that machine that, kind of sees through you.
Absolutely.
So, given what you experienced in leadership studies, would you also call it the leadership MRI?
Absolutely. Exactly. You've said everything that I could just, that I've already reiterated, the fact that it allows you to reevaluate yourself and reevaluate the scenes that you've put yourself in as a follower, a leader, organizations, and any aspect, in that area or category. It's absolutely an MRI. It helps you see through yourself, and are you truly being a transparent leader? And is that right? So, transformational leader.
Yes.
I knew that. So
this is almost like a final exam.
Exactly.
It's been several months, almost a full year since I've been impressed. Good for you.
So it's absolutely been sticking with me. I take it everywhere I go.
That's great. Well, do you have any advice for students who are sitting here or, wherever they are and they're listening to this and watching this and going, just what would you say to them to say?
Stop thinking too much about it. Just do it. Honestly, that's what I did. I hopped around and I thought, I said, okay, I will. Okay, maybe not. Okay, maybe I should. Maybe I won't. I'm so glad and thrilled that I did it, and obviously potential employees will think the same thing as they did, when I was applying. It's going to take you a much further way than you'd even expect, and it's going to be an MRI of yourself and other people, and it's absolutely going to help you be a more effective person as well as an effective leader, even a more effective follower. And it's whatever career you're planning to go into, it is going to aid you in that step towards that goal that you have for yourself. So do it. That's what I would tell them. Don't think about it. Just do it.
Edwina, thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Yeah. I can't wait to spend a little more time with you and hear more great hospital stories.
I'm sure I'll have many.
So I'm looking forward to that. But thank you very much, and thank you for sharing with the students here at East Tennessee State.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, great.